Ah, peace, balance, tranquility. Yeah, you have to have those things when making TRP items. I just thought I'd list, some nice things that were cool. Welcome back, everybody, to Surviving Azeroth TRP Extended. I'm Cinn Sprocket, yet again, yours truly, and we are going to cover the next bit of TRP Extended stuff that I feel is important to know when creating items. Now, part 2, if you've already seen part 1, part 2 is going to lead into some of the more complex things you can do with TRP Extended. The comment that was left on my YouTube video was talking about creating an item that had a random roll in it that, depending on whether or not a certain number was rolled and everything worked, it would do a certain emote. Now, I have created this item, and I did it off of the video. I'm just going to walk everybody through it. I'll probably add some things. I'll probably duplicate some things just so we can see how these features work. I could just remake the item, but in a sense, like I got a little confused at times too. It happens. You just got to sit here and play with it. So let's just go ahead and cover the basics one more time. We have the item name, test item quality, which is rare. As you can see, it's a rare test item. We have left custom text, add text here. I've left this blank just because I was like, I don't really want to just do that. I wish I actually had an item. I might actually create an item out of this just so it looks nicer, but I'm not doing that right now. Tooltip description, add text here. Crafted quest flag, little cool glowy thingy. Crafting reagent, usable. Usable. Make sure you hit this if you want to use your item, because sometimes I don't do that, and that's just what happens. Usage text, do it. As the great Senator Palpatine would say, do it. So I'm not going to change the foods, the sounds, or anything. I'm not going to change all this. It's just a test item, just to kind of run through what we have going on here. A lot of these features are basic. A lot of people know how to do these things, and if you watch the first video, you totally should know how to work all this. If not, let me know. We'll rerun through it again. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to event. We're going to go to workflows. Now, as you can see, we've got big scary condition word right here. We have 4 different workflows. We have speech narrations. These all have about the same thing, except for this last one that doesn't need a condition because it's the last thing in something I'm going to call a condition chain. There might be a different term. There might be a better term for this. I'm just going to call it a condition chain. Now, a condition chain, when you're working with something like a random number or a random item that you want to do a different emote every time, you're going to want to use a condition chain. What a condition chain does is think of a ladder. Test 1, as per what we have on our on use thing right here from the last video, this is where the item starts. Now from here, we have this big scary word condition. Honestly, you're going to be a pro at this after we're done. We have this. Let's take a look at this real quick. You can add that into any workflow after you have become a big super boss at these things by hitting the condition button. We already know how to add the effects in. We already know how to do a cast bar. So we're going to click this. We're going to get right into it. Now, this right here is a failure message. This right here I'm going to cover in a moment. Let's talk about the actual essence of the condition editor. You click that bad boy. Now we have right here in front of us the test editor. It says random number between 1 and 100 is lesser than or equal to a random number between 1 and 25. That might not mean a whole lot to everybody right now, but I'm about to tell you why that should mean something. For this item, on this random roll, we have picked the number range 1 to 100. We could totally do that and get away with it, and I'm going to tell you why. We have this big number range on the left here. Remember that 5th grade math that we used to do where, 36 is lesser than or equal to 50? And that's true, it is. It's lesser than 50. The equal to doesn't apply because we have this thing called and or. Now, people that have played Minecraft, we have and or gates. TRP extended and coding in a sense runs a lot like that. That's what a condition chain is we're setting up conditions that say we run this if this doesn't work and this or this. We're not going to really cover this big gaggle of like, this is running and this is running and this is running. The in essence of a condition chain is that If the number, this condition does not, if the number, sorry, I got a little tongue tied up there. If the number that this condition picks is not lesser than or equal to 1 to 25, then this is what's going to happen. Now we can hit preview test, let's just keep hitting it. We got one true, that means that it was lesser than or equal to 1 to 25. You can always hit this preview test button to see what's going on, what's going to come up. If you're getting a lot of falses when you should be having a lot of trues, or a lot of trues when you're getting falses, or a random item, that will kind of give you a dead giveaway. Now we can hit the configure button for the condition editor, and this will allow you to change the numbers. Let's just hit and see what else we have in the condition things. We've got unit names. It'll go down to character names, unit IDs. It'll come down to that. Unit NPC IDs. You got all these things. A lot of these things are for campaigns, and a lot of them can be restricted to random items. We will cover some of those features in a later video, but in essence, making random roll items on a condition chain, this is going to just involve this others tab here with the random number. Now from 1 to 100. We're going to leave it as lesser than or equal to. In that comment on that picture that I saw, you didn't have really a breakup of your number range. At least I didn't see that. So you don't want to put is equal to a random number between 1 and 25. If you're trying to get a random emote to happen based on a number range, you have to at least tell it that there is going to be a number range. Lesser than or equal to does that. If you say equal, it means it has to equal or this is not happening. I don't know if I believe your comment said that that item wasn't working like at all. This will guarantee that it does if you run it like this. If you set up this condition chain, it's going to look like a pain in the butt, but it's going to work perfectly once you see it. You have lesser than or equal to random number between 1 and 25. Now we're going to hit confirm. Configure works a lot the same on the other side. You can preview values. So we've got 25. We've got 38. That's going to come up false if I were to preview that, right? Well, it's true because it re-rolled the numbers. I should have actually not done that, but it's okay. We're going to hit confirm. Now we have this already set. This condition is set. It's locked in. You're good. You don't have to mess with it anymore. You have your number range picked. You have your random things picked, your scope. Now this failure workflow thing, it says expert right here. You're about to be an expert. Everybody that's watching this, you're getting upgraded. You're now TRP expert. Welcome to the club. It's perfect. We need more people up here. It's getting pretty empty. So we've got failure workflow expert, test 2. Now, when this condition happens and it picks a number that is greater than 1 to 25, that means it's failed, or it's false in a sense. Hope you're watching my cursor. It's going to run this workflow if it fails. Now, the positioning of this condition is also critical. It is above your first emote for any random roll. If you wanted to add, you set up 4 of these things, you got different emotes. The picture in question set up, I think it was a pack of cigarettes that they were just going to change their, oh man, I'm going to get demonetized. I said cigarettes. Whatever. I wasn't getting monetized anyway. So they had these emotes for cigarettes set up, and your conditions were in good places, but they just weren't working. So if they're not going to work and it fails, nothing's going to happen. We have this condition set to where it's going to execute test 2 if it fails. Now, if it's true, what's going to happen is it's just going to run this emote. Put this above this, because if this fails, it's going to run test 2, and it's not going to do this effect at all, because it cannot continue down the workflow chain if this is rerouting everything else to this workflow. You'll see how it works in a moment. It's totally beautiful. That's why you put this here. This is why this is considered expert, which it's not really an expert thing. This just says, okay, if this condition fails and it doesn't work, what do we do? And usually we'll just stop right there. It will actually, if you didn't have this condition, if you didn't have this failure workflow set in at all, this would still go off. This condition also stops that from happening. That's where having some of these things, some of the littlest things are really crucial to this, and that's why we're here. So in this condition chain that we'll call it, we have this set. We're going to go down to test 2. As you can see, we have another condition set up in the exact same manner as the first test, except there's going to be different values for this. So we're going to go back through, we're going to click it, we're going to go click it again. We've got random number between 1 and 100, lesser than or equal to a random number between 26 and 50. That means that we have moved further down the scope of the random rolls that we have, the hidden random rolls, instead of having the actual dice. We could have tied this item to actual TRP rolls. We don't need to. No point. We have this. So we have random number between 1 and 100 is lesser than or equal to a random number between 26 and 50. This means that in this part of the workflows, the entire condition chain, that it's going to test to see if it gets a number between 26 and 50. Keep in mind, every time a condition rolls between 1 and 100, it does not copy the number from the last condition that did it. It re-rolls, which that's also kind of a problem too, because what can happen is you can have some duplicating emotes. Now we have this set. We've already seen how this works. The reason that I say that it can duplicate emotes is that we don't have this set in. This right here is crucial for stopping duplication of emotes and to stop the workflow entirely. It will stop the entire condition chain if you actually find a number between 26 and 50 out of those 100. Now we'll just hit confirm. It's going to take a moment here. Got to kind of make sure I'm not all tongue-tied. Where's my soda? There you are. Okay. Alrighty. I know. We're doing big math here, little puppy. I know. My dog's on my lap. He's having a good time. So, back to the condition chain. We're just having we could either call it a ladder, or we can call it stairs. You know, the first test failed, so it's going to go to the second one and look for a number between 26 and 50. And if it finds one, it's going to move on and it's going to do test 2. Now we already know that if it does not find a number between 26 and 50, it's going to execute the third part of our condition chain in the random rolls. Then we're going to go down here, same thing set up again. You're starting to see this pattern where, you know, we already know how random rolls work. We already know how greater than or lesser than or equal to works. Blah, 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 blah. The ordering of these things is exceptionally vital. And that is why I break these up into workflows, because having 1,000 different conditions in a single workflow is gonna get complicated. And eventually TRP will not know what you're trying to do, and it will just run through every emote. And that's not what you want. So if you break these up into different workflows like this, you will get some different things. So let's just do this. Let's just give it a little shot, and let's just see, you know, what we got here. Woohoo! I'm on the YouTubes. We'll even leave the O right there. I don't even care. Now the reason I'm changing this is because we're actually going to test this to see if it actually works with our conditions. I'm not going to show you how it would look if it failed, because failure looks a lot like the item not working. I'm just going to show you that it is going to be random, and I will go back through the conditions after this. Woohoo, I'm on the YouTube. Hooray, I got a subscriber. I feel like people are going to be like, you're tooting your own horn, man. I'll be like, nah, I'm just being silly. Woot. Hit that bell. Isn't that what Markiplier says? Hit that bell and dingling that bell and subscribe right now. It is what he says. For real, though. Fun times to be had. Now, we got that. Now you can edit this. The reason that I just did all that is that editing these things, when you have conditions in front and all this, doesn't really change anything. Keeps the conditions the exact same. You're just having an emote broken away. Now, there is one thing I will talk about. You can add effect conditions directly to emotes and to effects. Not really recommended for the randoms, for a random roll like this, because it doesn't work. You don't get, by doing that, you don't get this thing. Well, I had to burp a little bit. You don't get the failure workflow option in those. because then it just gets too complicated. That's why in the picture, when you had your conditions separated out, that was perfect. You had it. It's just you have to be able to break up the item so that the item knows, what do I do if this fails? You were trying to do that, but you just didn't have you didn't know what to use that is best for that. And in my opinion, this is the best way. There is a way, I believe, to actually do it in one single workflow. There's no point when you could just have a bunch of these and the item will still work just as good. And no matter what, you can still import and export this item as is. You can trade this item and this doesn't change at all. So that's a good thing. So we have this set. We've already covered the conditions again. We've already got these set. Now let's just test it real quick and see if I'm right. So let's hit this button. I did get a subscriber. Hooray for me. So that must have found, I believe, which one was that? So that was the 26 through 50. That means that when I right-click that item, this first test right here happened. It tried to find a number. It found a number between 1 and 100. That number was greater than 1 to 25. So that means that this condition has failed, and it's going to execute the second test. Second test ran through and did number 1 to 100, and if that number was lesser than or equal to 26 to 50. And because that was true, it didn't execute the third test. It just did the hooray, I got a subscriber emote, and it stopped right there because that's what we wanted it to do. It will not continue if you don't have anything else to do. It says, oh, it's going to do this if it doesn't have this. Now, if it fails, you're going to run it through the test again, and blah, 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 blah. Let's hit it again. Let's see what happens. For real, though, fun times to be had. I really love how positive this item is being. So we see that again. Maybe this is getting a little redundant, but you know, it goes to the fourth one. That's our 76 to 100. As you can see, this random roll item is working. It's working perfectly. It's not duplicating. Well, it will duplicate because, you know, there's 4 parts to 1 to 100. Yeah, 1 to 25, you get that port. So what it's doing basically is it's not going to just spam your chat box and rerun things that it's not running. And that is why a condition chain is perfect for this sort of thing. And it's the best thing to explain on a video as far as the next stage on what people can do with TRP extended. So let's just hit it again real quick. I'm curious. I'm actually so happy that this is working. I did get a subscriber. Hooray for me. It's running it again. I got another one. For real though, fun times to be had. Woohoo! I'm on the YouTubes. It's totally working. I'm going to pause real quick. Give me a moment. Gotta actually... What's wrong with the dog? But yeah, in essence, it's totally the way that it's going to work. This is actually kind of a shorter video. I probably could have built this on the video at this time. Might have been actually really informative to do, but I hope I've explained this item perfectly. Hope I have. If not, please hit those questions up. I will go right through them and we will look at these things again because that's just what we're going to do. So we got this already set up. Remember, you can always pause YouTube and look at things and see how I'm setting it up. So we're going to do this. Now, one thing I am going to cover because I feel that I made that promise in the first one and I didn't do it, was how to import and export objects. Now, quick object import. We're going to go to this. We're going to hit this little button. Now, we're going to read this real fast. Don't have anything to paste here. The WeakAura sharing website, they actually do have a website where you can share items and blah, 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 which is pretty cool. I actually might upload a few of those. If people want me to, I can upload this condition chain or this sample of a condition chain onto that. I just don't think I'm going to because I want people to see how it's done and then they should just go out and make it themselves. It's 10 times more informative if you actually just play with it. You know, now that you have a visual aid, hell yeah, get her done. So we have a previously serialized object here. Campaign button, create item, full objects import. Now, if I hit this, do I want to import the following object? Strange puzzle box. No. I don't want to do that. So, we're going to do this as far as importing and exporting. This is the best way to do this. as far as backing up your profiles and backing up your items, this is the best way you could ever do to save your items instead of your TRP getting wiped and you going, oh no, what do? I don't have my stuff. So we're going to go to this. We're going to do quick export object. We're going to do, what is a full export? Let's see what the full export does. Okay. I think I just crashed World of Warcraft. Is this how you wipe your TRP? I think this is how you wipe your TRP. Pretty sure this is how you wipe your TRP. Interesting. Huh. Cool. Well, I'm probably going to have to do a jump cut right here, just so we can actually see what you got to do instead of clicking weird buttons that make the computer freeze. Oh no. Oh no, we're good. Wait, we're back. Oh, we're back. Oh, we're totally back. Yeah, mental note. There's some things that just take a minute. It could be also my computer. It could be anybody else's. Doesn't really matter. Let's see what happens here. This isn't what I wanted, though. I wanted the actual notepad file. Unfortunately. I guess I should be asking what people would like me to cover in the next video. I could sit there and make another item and explain like how triggers and variable sets and variables work like that. I think the condition chain is a big portion of what people were a little confused on. I know I need to actually get in and do campaigns eventually. Oh, your object has been exported in a file called TotalRP extended. This is in your game files and your mod files. World of Warcraft, blah, 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 your account, save variables. I don't want to do that. You can just go ahead and piss right off with that. Quick export object. That's what we wanted. You're going to right click that. Quick export object. Now you have this. You can now post your quick export. It's going to show you the same thing. Code for test item. Now you're going to have to highlight all of this lovely stuff. It should already come pre-highlighted, which it didn't. That's fine though. I'm not going to bother with that because my mouse isn't working that right. So that's okay. Yeah, see, even I have errors. I'm not going to cut them out. That's fine. Everybody has these problems. But basically, that's the quick export. Now you're going to have to export this entire thing. Do it in Notepad. Or is that what it's still called? Notepad? That is what it's still called. I know. Yeah, Notepad. There we go. Bam. Copy this all into Notepad. Save it as, oh, a text item. And, put it on a folder. You can do this with your TRP profiles. You can do this with any other item. You can do that with items that have inner objects like documents or other items that work in them. And when you import an item, you click this quick object import, you copy whatever's in that notepad and you put it right here. And then you just click import and it'll show up. Technology is crazy like that. So I hope this was rather informative. I feel like that was a pretty brief but quick explanation for covering items. That's how I keep all of my TRP stuff on backup. Is I have all of this in a folder copied in that notepad format into it, isn't it TXT format? And it's on my desktop. So in case something ever happens, I can just drag all those things back in as I need them. So you can do that with your profile too. It's a good way to save your profile. I have all of my profiles like that. I would show you, but then that would kind of ruin the immersion for people and characters I play, which is fine, but not really. So eventually we will go to the test arm. I will have to do variables and input commands and things like that. Also feel like that'd be cool to walk everybody through setting up a bigger complex item like that. But yeah, yet again, let me know if you have questions, comments, or concerns. I do actually pay attention to my comments. I mean, I have like 6 subscribers. Of course, I'm reading your comments because that's just how it is. I'm not cool enough to hire a comment reader. But so let me know what we got to do. I'm going to keep going with this. Some people found these videos to be really helpful. I, for one, enjoy doing them. I like seeing these items work. I like seeing everything work. So that's what we're setting up. That's what we're going to do. So yeah, let me know what's going on. Let me know if I need to do anything. I am thinking about doing a video where we set up an actual profile. I have my monk right here that I need to do. And we can go into detail on how to use this and make it look presentable. There's a lot of people that know how to work the profile already, but I feel like just a refresher would be pretty beneficial for everybody. So yeah, this is where I would totally cue my sweet outro music, but that's not what I'm going to do. I don't have outro music. Besides, they will flag us for copyright. So we're going to leave it as that. And you have a good one, and let me know what we got.